You're listening to Entrepreneur's Enigma, a podcast about the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. Every week, your host Seth Goldstein interviews entrepreneurs from all walks of life about their entrepreneurial journeys. From store owners to Fortune 500 CEOs, we all have stories to tell. So sit back and join us for the next 20 or so minutes while we explore the entrepreneurial world.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I am, as always, your host, Seth, with Podcast Mastery and Goldstein Media. Today I have Charles Sims, who is a recovering CTO. He is a distinguished business person with over 15 years of experience, turned tech evangelist and investor. Charles has spearheaded more than $1.5 billion, that's with a B, in acquisitions, navigating some of the most complex deals in the sports and entertainment industries. And he's also the CTO of the LA Clippers basketball team, so that's kind of cool. He is a master storyteller with a wealth of experiences that go far beyond a single dinner conversation. Charles seamlessly blends the worlds of technology and business, illuminating the value of even the most intricate technical scenarios, regardless of the audience's background. So he's not only can he talk the talk, he can walk the walk and explain what the hell he's doing in the process to the layman, because you can get geeky with this stuff. Charles, how's it going, buddy?
It's going very well, Seth. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Awesome. And before the show, we were talking about how he has a whole setup for his podcast on wheels, which is really cool. So I would expect none less from a CTO, from a techie guy, to have the kind of the setup working.
Well, I mean, after the time where we had to produce a virtual pandemic playoffs over Teams,
Teams?
Yeah. So I had to learn very quickly how to do prosumer, as we call it, prosumer broadcast TV, where we would get the stream from Florida, put it on TVs in the office, have our in-arena host, then talk it up, and then that got sent out to people on Teams, because Microsoft was a big sponsor of NBA at the time.
Which is fine, but Teams back then sucked.
It was Skype plus back then. It wasn't even.
I know. Now Teams is actually on par somewhat.
Yeah.
With somewhat,
somewhat. So needless to say, the long diatribe or the end of that diatribe is I have a lot of gear, and I've become somebody who collects video and audio gear, because it's techie, it's fun, it's
and
cool.
The best part, he has an office, so his wife doesn't have to endure it at their house.
At least I'm not a drummer. Otherwise, I think I'd be kicked out. But
yeah, we'll go in the office instead. So, So anyhow, like we mentioned, you were with the Clippers, not a basketball player, but the CTO, the guy who literally wires the place for sound. And during the pandemic, nonetheless.
Yeah. So when I was with the Clippers for 8 years there, so our fun times included both having to roll a server rack across one of the big main streets in downtown LA, because the previous head of IT had absolutely no documentation whatsoever, left on a Thursday. We started on a Friday.
Oh, no.
We had to move this whole thing across railroad tracks and all that, because we didn't know what was in there, to the pandemic playoffs when they're in Florida, and we're getting a stream that we send into folks' houses that then we record them and put that on the big TVs down in Florida, so you can see it kind of has a virtual crowd in stadium, to acquiring the LA Forum, world famous LA Forum, and then designing and imagining the brand new Intuit Dome that opened this last year.
Oh, wow. I just remember, like, the pandemic was like a clusterfuck for everybody.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was watching broadcasts kind of get their head out of their ass. Like you'd watch Cuomo, not Andrew Cuomo, his brother. Brother Cuomo, whatever.
The one that's on like CNN or whatever, right?
Yeah, it was on CNN until he got in trouble. But yeah, he did it from the basement of his house. Like, everyone took their stuff home, and it was almost real.
Yeah, and we all realized. So I remember the time in broadcast where a millisecond of black screen means people are getting fired. Everything's ruined. You ruined the entirety of the entire broadcast. Where now it's like a dog runs into the frame, and Chris Cuomo. Yeah, Chris, come. Yeah. No, you're
And
absolutely
Chris apologizes for his dog, and it's like the hit of the pandemic where the guy is on the BBC and his kid
right.
prances
The kid comes in, and the wife
comes in, grabs him real fast, and he doesn't
Yeah.
lose. The best part, he does not lose his concentration. He apologizes, sorry about that, and keeps going. I'm like, dude, I would lose my shit and start
That
laughing
is an
hysterically.
absolute professional. It was, see, but that's the other thing is we also met all of our coworkers' wives and kids and dogs,
And sometimes more of our coworkers than we wanted to.
Than we wanted to, when they forgot to put mute or they put video on when they're still in the bathroom listening in on a Zoom call. Yeah, it was
an
trying
interesting time.
times.
It was a trying and interesting time. It honestly made Zoom what it is today.
It made the workspace and how we interact with one another what it is today. It made the ability to. I think what you saw, at least what I talk about a lot, is it taught people how to have to interact remotely. And while it's still very, very different than if you're in person, it is so much more valuable of a remote connection than it used to be. 6 years ago. I was going to say 2-3 years ago. But yeah, 6 years ago. So
It's amazing.
yeah.
What's funny is I remember before the pandemic, pre-pandemic, I remember I was working out of a co-working space, and I would go meet my clients in person or a prospect in person first. My rule now is I don't meet you in person until 2 or 3 meetings later when we actually should meet in person if we need to meet in person. Most of my clients I've never met in person. I've met them through Zoom because it's expanded my horizons more.
But I mean, and clients don't care as much as the whole I want to be wined and dined. Now you're thinking, I don't want to spend 4 hours on a golf course. I don't want, like, unless I have nothing else to do. And I'm that type of client. Awesome. But most of the folks I deal with, it's like if we're meeting in person, it's like, hey, let's go grab a drink at happy hour, or hey, let's go grab lunch.
Or let's go to a networking event. Oh, hey, wow, you're the best thing is you're taller in person.
Yeah.
Or you're shorter in person. Well, you never say shorter. They're always taller for some reason.
Yeah. Before I left UTA, I was in, but I am 6'4". So I'm not short, and that's
You're 6'4", so you would never tell from the video. For those who are watching the video, it's like
no, not at all. But bigger is such a different word to describe somebody than taller. If I had always gotten taller, I'd be like, oh, that's nice. But throughout the post pandemic, it was always, you're a lot bigger than I thought.
you're
Thank
like,
you.
thank you.
I'll go get my my shake quick, the diet real quick.
Yeah, exactly. So you worked at the Clippers. Where else did you work in the corporate world?
So I was originally in management consulting prior to the Clippers and doing basically IT technology consulting for your small, medium businesses here in LA. And that's where I really cut my teeth. Got very, very broad, understood how to talk to your business folks like a normal human being rather than a nerd.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
And also being able to talk to your technical people, like how they want to be spoken to, and in ways that get them excited about what you're doing, rather than how normal business folks usually just neglect it and have some pigeon leadership, as we could say, down.
Yeah.
Like I was mentioning earlier, there was a incident where the Clippers had their head of IT previously left on a Thursday, didn't have a great relationship with leadership, and just walked out. And they're moving from Staples Center to their brand new office space that weekend. And so my management consulting company was brought in, and from
Please wire it up.
please make sure everything works. And you know that new thing's called Skype for Business? Can you make Skype for Business work too? Because the owner's Steve Ballmer, and he used to be the owner or the CEO of Microsoft. So you have to have everything Microsoft. So
the truth comes out. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But the crazy thing was, it was one of the best experiences, just having to crunch down and get everything going, like get an entire 200-person office working, set up.
Wow.
All of the, like, they had everything on prem. We migrated all of, and this was the old days of migrating to Office 365, migrating your PBX to your Skype for Business, et cetera, and no documentation whatsoever.
Of course not. Why would there be?
that was my introduction to the Clippers, and
Wow.
their leadership fell in love with me, poached me from that group, and then I was with them for about 8 years.
Through the pandemic.
Through
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Really cut your teeth then.
Yeah,
Jeez.
really cut my
Woof.
teeth. Went from it was my other CIO and CTO groups in LA were starting to say, hey, like this might be something we want to try to do a work from home. Let's test it out and do like a day where half of the office goes away just to see. They bring that up with leadership. They're like, absolutely not. That's crazy. There's no chance any of that's going to happen. A couple of days later, okay, maybe like you can plan it, like put together the planning for it, but don't spend any money because it's definitely not going to happen. The next week, all right, maybe we should actually.
This was
try
during
it.
the pandemic, the wind up.
Right before, and then that Wednesday was the fateful Wednesday when it was the OKC and Utah game that shut down the entire world. When it was a basketball game that we're all watching, and by the next day we had 300 of our employees come grab their desktops, laptops,
Hold their
whatever it
breath
was.
as long as possible.
I mean, we had guys in like the full like scuba masks and stuff like that coming in, grabbing their stuff, teaching them, and within 24 hours we had everybody at home online and working. So it was kind of a
Wow.
crazy
That's a
time to cut
resume
your teeth.
builder right there. Within
Yeah.
24 hours, we had everything running again.
Yeah, not perfect, but hey,
No,
it
nothing.
was
But
camera
nothing was
ready, baby.
perfect for about a year.
Yes, yeah, and we were
Shit
far
broke
better
constantly.
than average.
It's like but the term. You're on mute.
You're still on mute. Yep. No, we still can't hear. No, we still can't hear you.
No, hit the mute button. The mute button. Please unmute. Hit the unmute button. Hit the unmute button. No. Finger. Oh my god. And now it's like you're on mute, and everyone laughs. So like I should have learned that by now. It's 6 years later. I should learn to unmute.
Easy joke.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. So then, after the Clippers, you decided to go on your own. Then, right?
No, so after the Clippers, I spent 3 years with United Talent Agency. So it was a 2,500 person company that is the third largest talent agency in the world.
You like to go big.
I like big. I like fun. I like exclusive. I like these places that have really, really hard, impactful type of roles within them that I don't necessarily serve. I serve as support, and I serve as somebody who empowers those. But like the agents who are signing $5-6 million type of deals in a lunch, that was the experience.
And they're like, Charles, what did I do? I broke my phone. And you're like, nope, you have to turn it back on.
Yeah, but at the same time, those are the best people to prove that you can win over anybody if you can convince them what you're doing is valuable, right?
Absolutely. So then you left, went on your own.
Yes. So then I left to be on my own. We created a SaaS startup called Investimate, basically an AI platform for if you have an idea, it takes you from an idea to a fully built out business plan, market analysis, financial analysis, pitch deck, blah, 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 to get you to something that is investor ready, that you can actually skip the accelerator line, skip the going and living in San Francisco for a number of years, and skip the MBA and know what the heck you're talking about, and democratize that access to investors. So started that. That led into a number of what we've now created is a Scaffold Studio, which is a 3-tiered innovation studio for Incubator. We have an Incubator, which is all of our internal ideas. We have a manifesto that we follow.
Almost like a venture studio, yeah.
It's like, I mean, venture studio is the dirty word now, but yes, that's really what it is.
Dirty word.
But,
We're going to have the explicit tag, so we can use venture studio.
oh yeah, so we're not going to get demonetized, right? You promise?
No. Monetize? What's that?
Exactly. So we have the Incubator, which I run very much like the writer's room, where it's a yes and. You have I like to have the really crazy, smart, weird people all around and trying to figure stuff out and jamming through stuff in a day, and then that goes through our incubator system, which is 90 days MVP, and each one of the steps you can fail at. Day 1, day 7, day 30, doesn't matter. It kills, it goes to the trash when we move on to the next one. Then we have our accelerator, so the ones who have graduated or the ones who need that true
Accelerator-ness.
Accelerator-ness. And then we have our Studio Elite, which is you need a CTO who sits on a call with you, with your investors once a month or once every 4 months.
You're a fractional person.
Fractional person, yeah. And we have a number of those folks around. So that's what that original investment, where I said, this is a blueprint. It's just scaffolding to a business. And it doesn't matter if it's AI, if it's farming, if it's logistics, it really is the same concept. And then it's just acceleration.
Exactly. So all right. So you've done big corporate, and you've also done young, scrappy, pull up your boots, bootstraps, and kind of run at the wall and go through the wall. Sometimes you hit the wall and you don't go through because it's brick on the other side. What do you like better?
What I would say is I loved the time I had in big enterprise because I was able to play a little scrappy. Like everybody.
Oh, you're
that came-
entrepreneurial.
Yeah, everybody that came before, I always taught my team of like, we need to act like a business. Our own department always has to act like a business. And I'm the guy who goes and sells and gets us money. You guys are the ones who execute, and we're turning and turning and turning. And sometimes we have to find our own way to do R&D. We have to find our own way to do some of these things that we're not asking for money just
So young
yet.
and scrappy in the big corporate world. That's kind of cool.
So I like that, but the phrase that just haunted me was, it's like turning a battleship in a bathtub. And it's true. And that was the crazy thing going from the Clippers to UTA. Clippers was 200 people off season, 600 people on season. So it's tiny
not
mom
so
and pop
small
shop.
corporate, not even.
Tiny mom and pop shop, but it's a $3 billion brand. So there's a lot of personality, and there's a lot of people
Ballmer at the top. I mean, come on, personality. I mean,
one of the
Ballmer.
one of the most passionate people who I love to this day. And
He seems like a good dude to have a beer with. Maybe not to work for per se, but to have a beer with and hang out with. He seems like a fun dude.
From my experience, he's a really good dude to work with after his Microsoft time. So now that he's in like,
he didn't have anything to prove.
Yeah,
he already proved it. He already proved it and said, "All right, this isn't for me. Let's go this way."
Yeah, and the work they've done with like USA Facts or his wife Connie and the Ballmer Group philanthropic organization, like it's amazing. I love the stuff that they do. Again, not preaching to the choir or anything like that.
No, he seems like a good dude, just passionate,
very passionate, and has never been on anything that I know of in my life. So that's him. That's like true Ballmer himself.
That's Ballmerism.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Going from that small mom pop, but with a really, really big brand that had really big implications of everything that you do and everything that you screw up, to a now 3,000 person company that is acquiring like crazy. We acquired something like 12 or 1,300 employees in my first year that were there through acquisitions, and that is now. Everybody is old entertainment. Most people are old entertainment. So
or their old mindset at least.
Their old mindset, right? Even the IT and the technology team, I had to keep telling them like, IT's going away, guys. Let's be very clear. IT in the traditional sense of, hey,
you don't need 50 to 100 people. You need like 5.
You need like 5, but you also need those 5 to be innovative, and they need to be thinking of, hey, because I'm sitting here in this board meeting, or because I'm talking to this agent, I need to be listening for, oh, here's how I can make this guy's life better. Because making that guy's life better, or making that person's life better, could mean a $5 million check is signed today rather than a year from now, right? So the high stakes is a lot of fun, but the strike happened. The 2 strikes happened.
Let's not forget the other one.
The other one. My father had some medical issues, and I was like, I don't want to be stressed. I always want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to be stressed about this. Like, I want to be stressed about stuff that I can control. I want to be stressed about the craziness, and so that's why I flipped over. And now I love entrepreneur or entrepreneurship, because when I'm talking to a VC, or even when I'm talking to an investor, in 30 minutes I can convince them, hey, we need to shift the ship. We need to move it. There's no bathtub
anymore. And you can turn on a dime. It's not a battleship.
Turn on a dime.
You're like a little skiff.
Yes, but it's not like salesmanship in the sense of like trying to sell them a story. It's trying to take their narrative and replay it to them in a way that matters.
I love it, man. I love it. This sounds like so much fun.
Hey, come join us.
We should talk. Absolutely. But yeah, so all right, so let's get into the three main questions of the show, because everyone's like, oh, there's 3 questions? Yeah, there's 3 questions. So what's the best thing? I mean, you've done the corporate, you've done the entrepreneurial world. What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur?
Best thing about being an entrepreneur is you are what you eat. So the work you put in, as long as you're disciplined, you can really, really reap what you sow. but understand that there's a numbers game in it. So if you're trying to reap what you sow in something that everybody else has done, you can work your tail off, and it's never going to really change. But if you do that homework to figure out what's the niche, what's the problem that I need to solve, it's like what we tell writers all the time is like, write what you know, write about your grandparents, write about what happened with your neighbors or whatever.
Yeah,
it may be.
these are the best stories is when they're actually like sort of real.
And those are the best entrepreneurs who are actually trying to fix something that they know, that they understand.
We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show. Yeah.
That no one else has fixed yet, right? And so that's one of the things I love is being able to quickly shift their minds, because a lot of times, at least when I'm brought into a situation, a lot of times you have somebody who's brilliant, but there's a communication barrier.
Oh, there always is, because they're gearheads. They're in their head. They're not necessarily the CEO. They're founders, not CEOs yet, or ever.
The technical co-founders for sure, but we also have this issue with your non-technical co-founders
who say too much.
Yes,
they say too much, and then the technical co-founders like, dude, shut the fuck up. You just made my life that much worse. And I'm a mentor to a bunch of startups as well. And I sit there and I'm sitting there on these calls and I'm like, no, shut up.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be ready.
and the one of the things I was blessed with was being able to be so technical to a point that I can call BS, but I don't like doing the technical stuff. So
yeah, you know so much that you can then teach people how to do the work.
Yeah, but the thing I always hate was somebody says, "Oh, I know enough to call BS." I was like, that's not enough. Like, knowing enough to actually do it and give clear guidance and give clear direction is much more powerful than just calling BS. Calling BS is saying, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, but I don't need to prove myself."
Because I don't know it either.
Yeah. Exactly. So like a lot of the time when it's a non-tech, well, YC kind of pioneered the idea of like, no startup is going to be successful if they don't have a technical co-founder.
You need to.
Yeah, you have to. Well, AI and vibe coding is shifting a little bit of that, but yes, you absolutely.
Or I mean that co-founder, but you need to at least have a sounding board of a technical advisor at least to kind of say.
Or an executor, right?
Yeah, somebody that can help you figure out point A to point B and connect point A to point B versus knowing point A and point B and C, but not being able to connecting it and then connecting A to C instead of B.
Yeah.
If it's not confusing enough.
And the way that I usually like to say is there's three big personalities that happen in VC, and you only need two of them. So one, you're going to have the technical executor. So the person who knows how to take the vision and actually make it happen, whether it's architecture or it's like actually coding, whatever it may, like they have to be the one who is really putting the pen to paper and making it happen. Then you have the commercialization guy. That's a Steve Jobs. That's the one who's selling the vision.
The visionary, yeah.
But selling it to customers and selling it to the people and being able to get the actual revenue coming in. And the last one is the financial sale.
Oh, you need that.
The one who knows how to sell it to an investor. So if you're trying to get investment,
and sometimes the visionary can be the financial guy.
100%.
A lot of times the visionary cannot be the technical guy.
Yes.
He's too in the cloud. Well, they're too in the clouds. But they know where they're going, sort of, so they can kind of come up with the numbers, or they should. Yeah.
Well,
sometimes you need three. But yeah.
So I usually say you don't ever need three. It's one of the. You always need a technical co-founder.
So they also need the numbers too, so they can do the numbers if they have to.
And then it's the commercialization guy, or it's the investor dreamer, or the guy who knows how to sell it to investors. Because you're trying to, if you're raising money, yes, you're trying to sell to your customers, but you're also
not yet.
You're not yet, right? You're trying to sell the hope and the vision in the future. You can't sell the hope, the vision, the future to customers. That doesn't make sense because they want to buy what they're going to get. They're going to take.
They want the product. They want the thing. They want the end thing. Exactly. So, what's the scariest thing about being an entrepreneur since you've been out for a little bit?
You don't have sounding boards in the same way you used to. Like I don't have anybody else that I can really say, hey, have you felt like I'm going through this situation right now? What would you think? And they will have a side to it because they're an investor or they're an angel or they're another.
You're on your own more now, yeah.
I'm very it's really weird of how much you're on your own, and the founders that I either mentor or that are part of our programs. you see it of like they get into this mode of it's only me and I have no one else. And
It's isolating. Yeah.
yeah, but trying to teach that even though that you can only take fractions of advice from people, but you can still put that together and the sum of the whole is still valuable. It's just you have to be the driver. You have to be the one that is
You have
taking
to oomph. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what is the most important thing to carry with you all the time? This can be as woo-woo as you want to get or as physical as you want to get or both.
An avocado. No.
Ooh,
I
that'd be
would
a first.
Yeah, no. I think one of the things I really talk about a lot is around the empathetic innovation. So pushing the needle as hard as you can, but understanding the context of not everybody around you will be at that same level. So bring them with empathy rather than dragging them along, rather than forcing them or
Kicking and
cutting them.
screaming.
Yeah, kicking and screaming. And that's where a lot of the qualities that I try to teach the tech focused nerds, if you want to say that, is being able to express your narrative and your vision in a way that people want to. You're not forcing them. This isn't an audit. This isn't compliance. This is like, hey, we're doing this together. How awesome is this? So that empathy really, really is key to be taken with you everywhere.
I love it. Empathy. It's very key and it's needed and more than you would think.
Yeah.
So, Charles, where can people find you online? I know you hang out on LinkedIn a lot. Where else?
LinkedIn/Charles Sims, hurricanecto.com. We have the Hurricane Approach, which is our new book that's coming out, hurricaneapproach.com, and then on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at Charles-Sims.
Sims. Yes, because Sims is kind of common, so you couldn't get.
Yeah, there's a football player way back when who took it over. Yeah, so I just steal it back. Now I have the domain. I just don't have all the handles.
Oh, there you go. Well, Charles, this has been so much fun.
This has been awesome stuff. Thank you.
And we'll see everyone next time.
That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneur's Enigma, please consider giving us a review in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps us reach new listeners. If you like Entrepreneur's Enigma, consider the other shows on the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcast.net.